Well, earlier we spoke about the U.S. House of Representatives has postponed a vote on a Republican-backed bill to raise the federal government's borrowing limit. Joining us on the line to speak a bit more about that is Director of the Council on Hemispheric Affairs, Larry Burns, joining us from Washington. Mr. Burns, many thanks for joining us here on Press TV. Now, August the 2nd seems dangerously close. Could the House Republicans garner the support they need for their bill within time, in your opinion?
Oh, I think there's no prospect that they're going to get their bill passed. It's simply the Senate is totally controlled by the administration, and they won't get a single Democratic vote in the Senate, and their margin in the House will be very narrow. There's no issue in Congress that's more popular than the support of Israel. So that support, that ongoing relationship is not in danger.
Right, but then both sides have made it obvious that neither the Republicans nor the Democrats want to see a debt default. And as it's already been predicted by you that this bill will be rejected by the Democratic-led Senate, then where is all this headed?
Well, a lot of this is theatrical. You've heard that word before, and it's a very accurate description of what we have here. These two parties are in a very hostile relationship. They agree about very few things. This hostility permeates this issue. This issue could be resolved in a relatively short time if there were relatively minor concessions on both sides. But both parties feel that they could stage major electoral advances if they play their cards right. What they are anxious to do is to embarrass the other political party and wound it before the 2012 election takes place. That's what it's all about, the 2012 election. And the stakes are huge, and that is why both parties are very reluctant to give up what their particular advantages as they themselves see it.
Right now, what's interesting is Democrats are urging President Obama to invoke the 14th Amendment and raise the debt ceiling himself, further undermining the authority of Congress. Is that a viable option, in your opinion, one that would appease the markets and prove positive for the American economy?
Well, I think it certainly would improve the economy and produce a more tranquil atmosphere. But the Republicans would scream if Obama takes such a step. And they will say, Obama doesn't understand democracy. He doesn't appreciate democratic values. And although technically he's within the law, they will say, the spirit of the constitutionalism is being violated by him. And they will try to propagandize that issue. That's the name of the game, to use rhetoric to win your position over and attract a certain number of votes here and there, both in the Senate and the House. But ultimately, the audience is the American people, the TV shows, the talk shows on weekends. This is what they're after. They're after to stage a body blow to the other party, which will leave it prostrate before the election occurs in 2012.
Right, but Mr. Burns, the IMF chief Christine Lagarde has warned that the failure to increase the U.S. debt ceiling would raise serious doubts about the dollar as the world's leading reserve currency. Now, surely American politicians on either side of the aisle are aware of this and would give this more preference than to a couple of votes here and there, wouldn't they?
Yes, you would think so. But every legislator ultimately feels that this problem is going to be solved. And the solution is going to take place by a mixture of debt relief and tax abatement, and that these steps, that there's still sufficient amount of time to engage in political maneuvers, to score points, to embarrass your political opponents, and by the end of the day to win. Now, they may be right, but a lot of this is appearances and illusions. And if the market feels that it's being sandbagged, that it is being seriously weakened, that the fundamentals of the American economy are beginning to sag, there may be not only a crisis, but a debacle. Not that that's wanted by either the Republicans or the Democratic leadership, but it may grow out of control. But if it remains within control of the legislators, of the leadership, ultimately there'll be a solution, because anything else would be too catastrophic to even countenance.
All right, we'll obviously be keeping a close eye on the situation as it develops. That was a director of the Council on Hemispheric Affairs, Larry Burns, joining us from Washington. Mr. Burns, many thanks indeed for your insight here on Press TV.